Okay, so we're back. All right, 23rd Psalm. We've gone through verses 1 through 3. Today we are at verse 4. Let's start from the beginning. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restores my soul and leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Here we are at verse 4. Are you ready? This isn't for the faint at heart. If you've walked through the valley of the shadow of death, then you wouldn't want me to rush this, and you understand what I'm saying. This is not for the faint at heart. Here we go. Yea, yeah. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. There is so much to expound. I'm just using the regular King James because if I speak or read a verse parenthetically, I'm already trying to figure out how to shorten this without like robbing it of any of its richness. But let me tell you something. When we talk about a valley, first of all, geographically, a valley is a low region that persists between two high points. So you have a pinnacle or a precipice and then a drop, and it's a low point that persists between until the next precipice or high point. In other words, a valley is not a dip. It's not a dip. It's not a dip. It's not a dip that you recover from quickly. A valley is a low point that persists between two high points. So you drop and then you're there a while before the next high point. But the good news is that there's another high point. The valley has to come to an end. The valley does have an expiration. The valley does have to relinquish its stance to another high point. That's what makes it a valley. Right? However, what we're dealing with is the valley that persists. Geographically, it is a depression that persists a while. Another definition I thought was very interesting: a low region drained by a great river system. Oh my goodness, a low region drained by a great river system. Rivers, I want you to think about rivers, and out of your belly, how your out of your belly shall flow rivers of living water. Why would we be drained? Because let me tell you something. There, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, there are some things that die in the valley. There are some mindsets that die in the valley. There are some paradigm shifts that happen in the valley. In the valley, there are just some ways that you have always been that you cease being in the valley. Do you know what I'm talking about? I'm talking about the valley, the valley the valley that is persisting. This is when you're coming against the timing of God. This is where you learn you can't rush the hand of God. This is where you begin to offer up and give up anything that you can to make it stop. Maybe you were on the precipice of a great career. Maybe you were at the precipice of success and then you ended up losing your business. Maybe you were at the precipice relationally and you had a wonderful marriage and now you're going through a divorce, or even a marriage at all and you're going through a divorce. Maybe mentally, maybe you were healthy and now you're dealing with the valley of ill health and you're believing for your healing. It's something that causes you to persist. You're persisting in a low place. There is a depression that is persisting. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Anytime you walk in the shadow of something, that means there is something great that is close enough to loom over you and cast a shadow. So whether it is the death of your marriage, the death of your finances, the death of your sanity, the death of whatever, the death seems like it's the death of your health or well-being, it's close. It feels awful close. And how many can testify? Have you ever walked through a valley and you feel like you are dying? And a part of you is. There are things that are going to fall off in a valley. You get to the point where you will fear no evil though. I fear no evil. I'm tired of being afraid. I'm tired of waking up upset. I'm tired of being depressed. I'm tired of this whipping on me. I'm tired of feeling like life is mollywopping me. I am tired. I am not. I refuse. And you get to a point if you keep walking, because it's yea, though I walk through the valley. You keep walking. You don't faint. Sometimes you faint and you got to get up. Sometimes you do. You faint, you pass out, you got to get up again. But if you keep walking, if you keep putting feet to your faith, you find that you get up and you say, I'm going to walk this out. And if I perish, I perish. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when God is going to change it. All I know is that Jesus didn't die on the cross for me to die here. And so you keep walking through the valley of the shadow of death, this thing that is looming over you, but you fear no evil. Why? Because he's with you. In the valley, you begin to exercise every scripture, the memory of every prophecy, everything that it resembles God in your mind and in your heart is activated in the valley. Because in the valley, you decide, I'm just not going to live by the principles of fear. I remember walking through my valley recently and the Lord telling me that you cannot allow the spirit of fear to attach to you, because everything that is attached, every principality that is attached to the spirit of fear, every foul demonic spirit that is that collaborates with the spirit of fear, when the spirit of fear attaches to you, all of those things are attached to you as well. So no, we will not walk in fear through the valley. It's time, either Jesus is going to deliver me, either I'm going to live or I'm going to live. That's just it. You're walking through the valley. You know it's going to end, because a valley is the depression between two high points. That means the time is going to come when you're going to ascend again. I'm telling you tonight, if you are walking through the valley of the shadow of death, if death seems imminent, if something is looming over you, it wouldn't be a valley if there weren't another ascension. It's going to happen. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. In the valley, you may not feel you have the revelation you need, but you do. You do. Because he always gives you an instruction, a prophetic word, a revelation, a dream, an encouragement at the high point. You have something at that high point that you can hold on to, something that was given to you at the high point, but before the depression. So you may not have the revelation that you're asking for, but you do have the revelation that you need to keep going. Remember, what was the last bit of instruction he gave you? What was the last bit of encouragement that he gave you? What was the promise that he gave you? There are plenty of threats in the valley, but you have to remember, like he told me once, wherever there is a threat, there is a promise. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, because thou art with me. His word, that promise, that prophetic word, the logos, the revelation, the word is with you. He is the word and the word is him. So you are not alone. You are not left comfortless in the valley. I remember there was a man of God. I didn't know him personally, but people would always say that he would say, never forget in the dark what the Lord told you in the light. So if you find yourself in the valley of the shadow of death and you feel like you're dying, if you feel like you feel the parts of you just falling off, there are parts of you that always have been or that are just no more. Just remember the last promise. Remember the last word. Remember the last revelation that you had at the precipice. Because even this is coming to pass. This is going to end. This is going to end. I'm telling you, in the valley, you feel like you're going to lose your mind. And sometimes that's the very thing that you need to lose. The old way of thinking has to fall off. You might be losing your mind. The old way of thinking, the old way of processing, the old you, let it go. And hold on to everything that you know is God. If it doesn't survive the valley, it's not strong enough for the next ascension. You'll be okay. You'll be okay. I'm going to save the rest for another video, part B. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Okay, don't forget to come back. We're going to go to the rest.